Welcome baby Ernest. Princess Eugenie gave birth to her second child last week, as she shares adorable first picture and name that pays tribute to three grandfathers. Princess Eugenie has welcomed her second baby with husband Jack Brooksbank, and kept the birth under wraps for a week. The youngest daughter of Prince Andrew and the Duchess of York took to Instagram to announce the birth of Ernest George Ronnie Brooksbank on 30th of May 2023. Ernest was born at the private Portland Hospital in London like his brother and his mother before him. Born last Tuesday weighing 7 pounds 1 ounce, his name pays tribute to his late grandfather, Jack Stad George, who died aged 72 in 2021. And Fergie's father Major Ronald Ferguson. Eugenie also said his name was a tribute to his great-great-great-grandfather George V, whose middle name was also Ernest. A sweet snap shows her older son August watching over his little brother asleep in his Moses basker, which the new mother captioned, "Augie is loving being a big brother already." The new arrival is 13th in line to the throne, pushing Prince Edward into 14th place. Buckingham Palace said, Princess Eugenie and Mr. Jack Brooksbank are delighted to announce the safe arrival of their son, Ernest George Ronnie Brooksbank. Ernest will not receive a title, however, and, according to rules laid down by George V in 1917, is not entitled to be called His Royal Highness. He is the first of Elizabeth II's great-grandchildren to be born since her death last September. The new baby is named after Eugenie's grandfather on Sarah Ferguson's side, Major Ronald Ferguson, as well as Jack Brooksbank's own father George Brooksbank, who passed away in November 2021. Major Ronald, who died in 2003 aged 71 in London, was polo manager to the late Prince Philip before working for King Charles. He was educated at Eton, and followed up with a 19-year military career via Sandhurst and a commission in the Household Cavalry. At the height of his career, he captained the Sovereign's escort during the Queen's Trooping Colour birthday parade. He was known to be a colourful figure of London society, especially due to his marital affairs. The Major was known to be protective of his family, especially his daughter Sarah, and valued his privacy. He once told a journalist, "I am nobody. Nobody at all. I just happen to be the father of the Duchess of York. I mean, that doesn't make me terribly important, does it?" His 1974 divorce from Fergie's mother Susan Bentz was highly publicized after she eloped with Argentinian polo player Hector Bentz. He lost his position as polo manager in 1988 after the defunct News of the World published a story linking him to the Wingmore Club, described as a health club and massage parlor in London staffed by girls who, dressed in starched white medical gowns, allegedly offered à la carte sexual services to members. Major Ferguson always denied he used the club for sexual purposes, but the scandal impacted his reputation. In 1994, his tell-all memoirs, The Galloping Major, My Life in Singular Times was published, where he made bold claims about the royal family. At one point, talking of how he was dismissed as polo manager by Prince Philip, Ferguson wrote, "The impression was that, Prince Philip, had been advised to perform a royal version of ethnic cleansing by getting rid of the Ferguson family from his circle." In 2021, Fergie expressed regrets about the memoirs, admitted she'd rather her father hadn't published it. Speaking to Town & Country for a special digital cover story, Sarah admitted she did not want her father's book to be published. She said, "I never read that book. I felt that it would have been better that he hadn't written it." Major Ferguson died in 2003 following a heart attack in Basingstoke, Hampshire. He was reinstated into the Guards Polo Club shortly before he died. Meanwhile, George Brooksbank, Jack's father, died just 3 days before the christening of his 9-month-old grandson August at the All Saints Chapel in Windsor Great Park. The Brooksbank family paid tribute to the old Etonian, 72, in a notice placed in the Daily Telegraph at the time, saying he loved all the good things in life, most of all his family. George is also a reference to George V, the late Queen Elizabeth II's grandfather, whose middle name was Ernest and who died in 1936. The second son of King George IV, he was destined to serving in the Navy, until his brother Prince Albert Victor, the heir to the throne, died suddenly in 1892. Following this untimely death, George married his dead brother's fiancée Mary of Teck, who became Queen Mary, and with whom he had 6 children. In spite of their union being an arranged marriage, the couple had a loving relationship, and the gate of the royal Balmoral estate bears their monogram, Gr for George Rex, and Mr for Mary Regina. He ascended the throne as King Emperor in 1910 following his father's death, and his coronation took place June 22, 1911. The king reigned through the First World War as well as the first global financial crisis of 1929. In 1932, he delivered the first ever royal Christmas speech to the nation and Commonwealth, which became an annual tradition hereafter. A heavy smoker, the king suffered from several smoking-related health issues in the later years of his reign. George V was the father of Edward VIII, who succeeded him following his death, but abdicated before his coronation to marry U.S. divorce Wallis Simpson within a year, leaving his brother, Albert, who became King George VI, to take over the throne. Both Princess Eugenie, 33, who is an HRH, and Jack, 37, have jobs outside of the royal family and do not undertake official duties. It is expected that their sons will follow suit. The Brooksbank's eldest child, August, was also born at the private Portland Hospital in London, delivered by cesarean section due to the princess's childhood scoliosis operation on her spine. Their new baby is the third grandchild for the beleaguered Duke of York and his ex-wife, Sarah, Duchess of York. Prince Andrew was forced to give up public duties due to the Epstein scandal and is currently fighting to remain at his Windsor home, Royal Lodge, despite efforts by his brother, the king, to evict him. Eugenie and Jack announced earlier this year that they were expecting again on Instagram with a sweet picture showing their son kissing his laughing mother's tummy. They were joined on social media by proud grandmother, Sarah, Duchess of York, who also posted a sweet picture of August splashing in puddles wearing a little yellow raincoat. The caption read, "You will be sharing puddles, Augie. Superb news, Granny Heaven. So deeply grateful." The news was also announced by Buckingham Palace in a more traditional manner with a short statement, saying, "Princess Eugenie and Mr. Jack Brooksbank are pleased to announce they are expecting their second child this summer. The family are delighted and August is very much looking forward to being a big brother." The princess is a director at International Art Gallery Hauser and Wirth, and her husband works in marketing. The couple married in October 2018 after several years of dating. Occasionally Eugenie used to support her late grandmother at receptions and garden parties, but this is likely to be less frequent, if at all, under her uncle, who wants to create a more streamlined monarchy. However, both she and her sister, Princess Beatrice, did attend events to mark the king's coronation last Monday and were guests of honor at street party in Windsor. Earlier this year Eugenie, who also campaigns against modern-day slavery and on environmental issues, gave a rare interview to Reuters news agency in which she said is already teaching her toddler son to be a climate change activist and has stopped using plastic at home. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, the 11th in line to the throne said becoming a mother had totally changed her outlook on the environment and made her feel more vulnerable. She said, "My son's going to be an activist from 2 years old, everything is for them, right? Every decision we now make has to be about how August is going to be able to live his life." Earlier this month, a very pregnant Eugenie was glowing on the coronation weekend as she took part in several events to celebrate her uncle King Charles III being crowned. As she and the family arrived at Westminster Abbey on May 6 to take their seats for the ceremony, Prince Harry, who sat with his cousin, was pictured looking astonished at her baby bump. Expert lip reader Jackie Press deciphered his words to Eugenie, with whom he is incredibly close, as he saw her at the entrance to the Abbey. She claims he said, "Wow, amazing, look at the bump," using his hands to indicate to a heavily pregnant Eugenie's tummy. "I know," her husband Jack replied, smiling as he walked to his seat. "And there's no doubt that little one's grandmother, affectionately known the public as Fergie, is delighted with the newborn. It appeared the excitement proved too much to contain as earlier this month, Eugenie's mother appeared to let slip her due date. Speaking to Hello, she said, "We don't know what it is yet. But the baby is due by the end of May, I think. So it's any minute now." In April, Sarah also revealed she loves being a grandmother and said her grandchildren find her very funny. She told OK! Magazine, "It's a whole new phase of life and I am modeling myself on Supergran. I love being with them and how it brings out my inner child. My grandchildren seem to find me very funny. I love indulging them, too." But she admitted she gets in trouble for giving them sweets. That same month, on Loose Women, the Duchess of York also told the audience her grandchildren's nickname for her. "They call me Gigi. Like the film," she explained, also sharing an Easter basket, adorned with bells and other trinkets, which she says signal to her grandchildren that she has arrived. "They hear me coming," she said. "Gigi coming, Gigi coming."
Your kiss I need, the caption on the main page. I won't be locked in your cage. Break with what I've built, I can't go on without you. I hope you feel the same mood. The caption on the main page. I won't be locked in your cage. I can't go on without you. I hope you feel the same mood. Your kiss I need, the caption on the main page. I won't be locked in your cage. Break with what I've built, I can't go on without you. I hope you feel the same mood. The caption on the main page. I won't be locked in your cage. I can't go on without you. I hope you feel the same mood. Your kiss I need, the caption on the main page. I won't be locked in your cage. Break with what I've built, I can't go on without you. I hope you feel the same mood. Your kiss I need, the caption on the main page. I won't be locked in your cage.